Hello and welcome to another episode of Yarn Cakes and Tea, a mini yarn review series where I take a look at some of the very best fibers the knitting community has to offer, all while enjoying my favorite cup of tea. This week, I'm reviewing Asselin's Sevilla yarn, a lovely worsted weight that really lets its colors shine. The tea I'm drinking this episode is Ahmad's Tea Vanilla Tranquility, a soothing black tea blended with vanilla extract. This week's episode of Yarn Cakes and Tea lines up perfectly with my newest pattern release, the Kimura Cow. Asselin had so graciously provided the yarn support for this design, which you can now find in the newest issue of Hollow Knits magazine and on Ravelry now. I got 4 skeins of Sevilla in the colorways Ancient Gold and Commodore. Commodore is a lovely deep blue color, but I was absolutely blown away by Ancient Gold. When the light hits this yarn the right way, it looks like I'm holding gold in the form of yarn in my hands. Both colorways have a nice subtle heathered tone, especially Commodore. The shifts in tone make for excellent definition to any of your projects. Sevilla is a 100% superwash merino worsted weight yarn at 185 meters or 200 yards per skein. Up until this point, I had been reviewing merino, cashmere, and nylon blends, which I had praised for their softness, strength, and bounce. However, despite Sevilla being only a superwash merino fiber, it holds up really well to its blended counterparts. It has a slight halo, and I saw no breaks in the plies, and I used about 1.5 skein of each colorway for knitting up the sample. This is a very good quality yarn. Each skein is priced at $24, and you can find her yarns in many local yarn shops across the globe. In fact, I was first introduced to her yarn at an online yarn store based in Tokyo. You won't have any trouble getting your hands on her yarn. I knit the swatch using the Kimura Cow motif, and it proved to be a quick and enjoyable knit, just like knitting up the sample for the Hollow Knits magazine. There was no splitting in the yarn, no piling and no fuzz, and it worked nicely and smoothly on both metal and wooden needles. Working these two particular colorways together also lent itself to some really remarkable results. Whatever color was the main accent of the motif, the background color really helped to let it shine. This is also a very sturdy yarn. Yanking it and pulling it doesn't hurt the yarn at all, and it stays intact. Blocking the swatch and samples showed no major issues in color bleeding. The yarn held the dye well, and there was no color bleeding in the water nor in the knitted objects. The stitches are very well defined. Textured stitches such as the garter stitch pop out nicely, and the colorwork motifs are nice and clear. There is a slight halo to the fabric, which gives it a nice fuzz. Any irregularities and errors in the knitted samples will not be blended as well as other fibers. However, I can't say if this is due to the yarn weight or the superwash merino. You will want to make sure to fix up any mistakes and errors that you see. The Kimura Cow knit sample was very warm and cozy to wear. It's soft, non-itchy, and it holds the heat well. If I didn't have to send it up for publication, I would definitely be wearing it right now. Pricing could be an issue for some, and the fibers don't bloom as much as others, so you will have to pay attention to your work. That said, you will definitely want to have this yarn in your stash. Sevilla is a very good choice for a superwash merino yarn. It has excellent stitch definition, lovely colorways, easy and quick to work with. I had absolutely no complaints with the finished objects. It's easy to find, and you won't have a problem getting your hands on the yarn. If you're extra lucky, your local yarn store will have her yarn in stock, so you'll be able to touch and get a feel for it before you get it. I give this my seal of approval. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoy these yarn review series, please hit the subscribe button. You can also find me on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, and Periscope at Ahmad Knits. And you can also read the written review of this yarn on my website at ahmadknits.com. If you have a yarn that you would like me to review, please send me an email at fdanois@ahmadknits.com. Thanks, and see you soon.